name's Jono Heale. I work for a company called ACS Custom. I'm Director of Sales and Communications, Education and Strategic Partnerships. What a lot of people working in the entertainment industry, musicians, teachers working in music and working in various musical environments don't actually understand the levels of sound that the environments that they're working in, and also this compared to their exposure times and how loud music can be in different environments. So we all know that maybe in a nightclub it's going to be very, very loud, but you could still be at risk in a rehearsal room or in a classroom teaching pipes or marching snare drum. So that could be a problem. I don't feel that this is firmly embedded into the education system, really. I think it should be embedded into the curriculum about hearing conservation, and we should be raising more awareness about this. I think it's very important so the next generation of music makers and music lovers are informed. So rule of thumb in terms of sound pressure levels, basically what you need to remember is that it's a 3 dB increase in sound pressure is twice as loud. So let's look at some figures. So rule of thumb is that 85 decibels in terms of amplitude or sound pressure, your safe exposure time is 8 hours. So that's a normal working day, no problem. And this is in line with the noise at work regulations under the Health and Safety at Work Act. For every 3 dB increase in sound pressure, it's twice as loud, so you should half your exposure time. So you've gone from 8 hours, 85 dB. If you go up to 88 dB, you then go to 4 hours, 91, 2, etc, etc. So when you get to around 97 to 100 decibels, you're looking at between 15 and 30 minutes safe exposure time. Now, how does that relate to the damage that can be done? Sound is a vibration in a gas. It's the movement of sound pressure, basically. Those vibrations go down the auditory canal or the ear canal and hit the tympanic membrane or the eardrum, which is a very delicate piece of skin, like the skin of a drum, hence its name, tympanic, as in timpani, stretched over the end of the ear canal. And that vibrates when those vibrations in the air hit that. There's a 3-bone small lever system at the back of the eardrum that translates those vibrations to a small plunger on what's called the oval window on the front of the cochlea. This actually increases the amplitude of those vibrations and sends those vibrations through this little plunger into the cochlea, which is a tube. It's actually 2 tubes filled with fluid. It's curled up, looks like a snail, and that sits in the inner ear, actually inside the skull. So those vibrations travel along the cochlea through this fluid. It's actually 2 tubes, and there's a membrane down the centre which has just under 16,000 sensory hair cells moving in the fluid like blades of grass or wheat or barley blowing in the wind in a field. And as these vibrations go over the sensory hair cells, they excite the sensory hair cells, send a nerve impulse through the cochlear nerve, through the auditory nerve to the brain. And that's how you hear. So in actual fact, you don't hear with your ears, you hear with your brain. The ear is a mechanism of transferring those vibrations in air into a nerve impulse. Now, when the amplitude or the sound level is very loud, those vibrations, the amplitude is very loud, it flattens down those sensory hair cells, which can cause temporary problems and over longer periods of time. As you keep getting exposed to those loud sound pressure levels, the sensory hair cells get a bit fed up with it and they die off. So you can get problems with music-induced or noise-induced hearing loss where you get dropouts of certain frequencies. Now, this may manifest itself in that you've been to a gig or you've been to a rehearsal or a concert and you come away and your hearing's gone muffled, or you have a ringing in your ears, which is only temporary, and in the morning, the day after, you wake up, the hearing's clear again and the ringing's gone. So temporary tinnitus, or the muffledness, is called temporary threshold shift. So it's when those sensory hair cells have been flattened down. Now, after 12, 24 hours, they stand back up and everything's fine. But as I said, if you keep being exposed to those loud sound pressure levels, they keep getting flattened down and they die off. And then that can result in music-induced hearing loss, which is a major problem. Obviously, you have a duty of care to your students, or the schools or the colleges have a duty of care to protect their hearing by law. Unfortunately, it's finding a solution that's financially viable. And a lot of people that hold the purse strings will say, okay, it's too loud, let's give the kids a load of foam earplugs. Right, foam earplugs are an auditory block. They're no good for listening to music. So the first experience of young people wearing hearing protection is rubbish. So they probably won't use them. I can't hear myself properly, so they think earplugs can't do it. So really the first experience we need to give young music makers is a good one, and use high fidelity attenuating hearing protection. We do produce universal fit products, two of which are available to education. One is the Arena plug, which is a memory foam earplug, attenuating earplug, which can be easily inserted. Very cheap, about £3 each, but it's an attenuating hearing protector, and we do 2 levels of attenuation for those. Or the Picato, which is a universal fit earbud, comes in a range of two bud sizes, so good for younger children and older as well, and it has a neck cord, which is very important. So in a classroom environment, they're playing and then the teacher wants to talk to them, they can take their earbuds out, have them dangling around their neck instead of putting them down, losing them. There's also a hygiene problem with that, and it comes with a nice little squeezy pouch as well, which is great. But we can supply those to education, depending on the quantities, at over 50–60% off, basically. The ethos of ACS as a company in terms of hearing protection is firmly embedded into raising awareness about hearing conservation. We work very closely with the British Tinnitus Association and Help Musicians UK. We want to support the education sector in supplying good quality hearing protection, which is why we're doing major discounts. So even for custom hearing protection, which tutors may be interested in, we do 20% off. So you've gone from £139 to £111, okay? And also we work closely with Holly Street Hearing and the Help Musicians UK charity in the Hearing Health Scheme. So you can apply through the charity to fund a hearing test and one-to-one consultancy with Holly Street Hearing, and also you get a pair of custom earplugs, all for £40, which is great. You can apply online. So if you're serious about sound, you really should be looking after your hearing and using some form of high fidelity hearing protection so you can play safe now, so you can still hear tomorrow.